Before the Ten Commandments, various cultures and societies had their own sets of moral codes and laws that guided notions of goodness. These rules often evolved from cultural traditions, community norms, or religious beliefs, emphasizing concepts like justice, fairness. The moral codes and laws that guided people before the Ten Commandments don't have a universal name, as they varied greatly across different cultures and regions. However, they can generally yes. Monotheism existed before the widespread. Ancient religions like Zoroastrianism worshipped one god, Ahura Mazda. There were also monotheistic elements in some other ancient belief systems, although they weren't as wide. For sure. Other cultures with monotheistic practices include ancient Egypt during the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten, who promoted the worship of the sun god Aten. Additionally, some philosophers in ancient Greece, like Xenophanes, proposed the existence of one god above all others. These examples show monotheistic beliefs emerging in various forms across different cultures. Some cultures did transition from polytheism to monotheism over time. For instance, Zoroastrianism emerged in ancient Persia, emphasizing the worship of Ahura Mazda as the supreme god, moving away from earlier polytheistic practices. Similarly, Judaism evolved from henotheism, which acknowledged the existence of multiple gods, to strict monotheism centered around Yahweh. So, these shifts, yes, Judaism is often recognized as one of the earliest cultures to start with monotheism, worshiping one God, Yahweh. This belief in a singular, all-powerful deity was quite distinct in the ancient world and laid the foundation for later. Yes, the Israelites practiced monotheism, worshiping one God, even before Christianity. Their faith was based on the worship of Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This belief in one God is central to Judaism, a tradition that predates Christianity. Aspect for its followers. It presented a consolidated belief system and set of practices that emphasized worship of a single. The Lord did guide the Israelites to different places, often through prophets, dreams, or signs. The exiles and dispersions led them to many parts of the world, and these events were seen as part of a divine plan. It's fascinating how the tribes of Judah and Benjamin are two of the 12 tribes of Israel, traditionally descended from the sons of Jacob. Judah's tribe became the dominant group in the southern kingdom, while Benjamin's tribe was smaller but still significant. Actually, the tribe of Joseph was divided into two separate tribes named after his sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. This was because Jacob, also known as Israel, adopted them as his own, thereby giving Joseph a double portion among the tribes of Israel. Most of the tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel, which included the tribes descended from Joseph, were lost to history after the Assyrian conquest around 720 BCE. The tribes of Judah and Benjamin were in the southern kingdom of Judah, which eventually became known simply as Judah, and from which the term Jews is derived. The Lord did guide the Israelites to different places, often through prophets, dreams, or signs. The exiles and dispersions led them to many parts of the world, and these events were seen as part of a divine plan. It's fascinating how these narratives shape much of religious history. Yes, there were Jews who were enslaved and deported to the United States. However, it's a complex history, as Jews were a minority among the millions of Africans forcibly brought to America. Most Jewish immigrants arrived by choice in later periods, contributing significantly to American culture and society. The Jewish experience in the U.S. is diverse, reflecting a range of backgrounds and histories. In North Korea, the government promotes a state-controlled ideology called Juche, which emphasizes self-reliance and often venerates its leaders. Traditional religion is suppressed, although there are small communities of Buddhists, Christians, and practitioners of Kondogyo, a native Korean religion. In the Philippines, Christianity, particularly Roman Catholicism, is the dominant religion due to Spanish colonial influence. There's also a significant in Vietnam. The religious landscape is diverse, with Buddhism, Catholicism, and folk religions being the most practiced. There's also a growing interest in Protestantism and other spiritual practices. It was a complex mix. The Catholic Church did impose its beliefs during colonization, and many indigenous and African people were forced to convert. However, some elements of their traditional practices were preserved by blending them with Catholic rituals. This syncretism allowed them to maintain a connection to their heritage while adapting to the new religious landscape. It's a form of culture. That's a nuanced perspective. In many cases, enslaved Africans in Latin America combined their traditional beliefs with Catholicism, creating syncretic religions like Candomblé in Brazil and Santería in Cuba. So, Catholic saints were sometimes linked with African deities, helping to preserve their cultural practices under the guise of Christianity. It's a fascinating yes, Christianity often blended with local spiritual traditions in Latin America and the Caribbean. In Brazil, practices like Candomblé or Umbanda emerged, where African deities, or orixás, were synchronized with Catholic saints. This fusion allowed enslaved Africans to maintain yes, there are similarities. Voodoo, especially as practiced in Haiti, also merges African spiritual traditions with elements of Christianity. It involves worshipping spirits known as LWA, much like orixás and Candomblé. Both religions focus on ritual ceremonies. In Brazil, they have a spiritual practice called Candomblé. It involves worshipping deities known as orixás, spirits associated with different elements and natural forces. It's a vibrant mix of African traditions and local beliefs. Santería, also known as Regla Diaca, is more common in Cuba and the Caribbean, where they worship orishas too, blending African spirituality with Catholic saints. Both are rich in rituals, music, and dance. South America's spiritual landscape reflects a blend of indigenous beliefs, Christianity, and African influences. Indigenous traditions often honor nature, deities, and ancestors, while Christianity is prevalent due to colonial history. Afro-descendant practices, like Candomblé and Santería, also play a significant role. It's a vibrant tapestry of diverse worship practices. Hawaiian spirituality doesn't include LWA like Haitian Voodoo. Instead, it centers on a pantheon of gods and goddesses, ancestral spirits, and nature deities, with practices like hula, chanting, and offerings. It's a rich tradition that Hawaiian spirituality doesn't traditionally include the worship of Bondi. Bondi is a concept from Haitian Voodoo representing a supreme god, different from the Hawaiian belief system focused on deities like Pele, Lono, and K. They have a unique spirit. In Hawaiian spirituality, the deities, similar to LWA in Voodoo, include Pele, the goddess of volcanoes, Lono, associated with fertility and agriculture, and K, the god of war. These deities are central figures, and people engage with them through rituals, offerings, and chants. The Hawaiian spiritual practice. Yes, the Hawaiian loa are similar to the LWA in Voodoo practices in Haiti. Both are spiritual beings or deities that act as intermediaries between the human world and the higher gods or divine forces. Hawaiian traditional spirituality and Haitian Voodoo share this concept of connecting with the divine through these powerful beings. Each tradition is unique. Lua, the Hawaiian god of war, was indeed worshipped in traditional Hawaiian spirituality. He was one of many deities revered in the complex Hawaiian pantheon. These beliefs were deeply integrated into their daily lives and social structures. Amazing how diverse and rich. Traditionally has polytheistic beliefs, with a rich tradition of gods and goddesses tied to nature and life forces. Modern Hawaiian spirituality may blend these traditions with Christianity or other practices. It's a beautiful mix of cultural heritage and personal belief systems. Intrigued by the diversity of Hawaii traditionally has polytheistic beliefs, with a rich tradition of gods and goddesses tied to nature and life forces. Modern Hawaiian spirituality may blend these traditions with Christianity or other practices. It's a beautiful mix of cultural heritage and personal belief systems. Intrigued by the diverse.